What you're about to see is a paper trail of how power actually operates in this country. Not headlines, actual messages. Watch every clip. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay till the end.
The leaking or abuse of confidential SAPS information, and it spans quite a wide range from the relatively innocuous to the less innocuous. And if we can start with the innocuous, it seems that General Khan has a tendency to show off to friends by sharing crime intelligence documents that sort of reflect on his importance. So if I can start, for instance, with a document at page 5659.
Can we just rely, maybe guide us to rely, do we rely on what you project here? Do we need to go into our computers? Yesterday I tried to find pages and I landed where I shouldn't have landed, which was quite distressing. So I'll be more comfortable if I don't have to go to my computer.
I don't think that there is much that we, well, I suppose, criticizing General Khan for sharing confidential crime intelligence information. I shouldn't really broadcast it to the nation. I
just want to know if I can shut down my computer.
Your computer.
You've just watched an evidence leader tell a commission that a major general in crime intelligence forwarded confidential SAPS documents to his friends because he wanted to feel important. Read that again. Delegation letters, task force appointments, police jet invitations, all ending up in the hands of civilians with WhatsApp accounts, replying with fire emojis and "well done, my brew." This is where the story starts, and it starts small on purpose. Because the moment a senior officer gets used to treating classified information like personal marketing material, everything else becomes possible. You don't wake up one day and sell a country. You warm up to it. Slowly, message by message. Who taught this general that the state's secrets were his to hand out? Tell me in the comments.
Shay 357, and 357 is the name of the vehicle, the sort of high-end vehicle workshop that Mr. Jody and Mr. Valley are partners in. Sends him a case number on the 12th of March 2021 with no explanation. At page 5990, we see a case number being sent by Mr. Sayed, ostensibly on behalf of Mr. Malema. We'll get back to this one in more detail later. We see that at 15th of June 2021, Mr. Sayed says, need to know the complainant in case number, gives the case number and says Juju Brew. Then we get even more sinister exchanges of this nature. So for instance, if we go to page 5370, or even 5369, we see an exchange between Mr. Valley, and I emphasize it's not this Mr. Valley or any relation, it's Mr. Ismail Valley, on the 28th of September 2021, at the foot of...
You've just watched something that should not be normal, but clearly was. Friends of a senior police officer sending him case numbers. No context, no explanation, just a number. Because both parties already understand what the number means, and what the general is being asked to do about it. Sanjay, Ismail, Syed. Different men, same behavior. Case comes in, favor goes out. Now think about the ordinary complainant who opens a case at a police station and never hears back. The docket that vanishes, the witness that gets threatened. This is why. Because the system was already being run through a private group chat by people who knew each other, protected each other, and made problems disappear for each other. Is this a police service or a private members club? Tell me below.
Blood. I will save you for a day when I really need you, although there are laughing emojis after that, which may signify a joke. But General Khan says, I'm here for you, bro. And it may have been intended as a joke, but later in the chats between Mr. Valley and General Khan, we see that it may not have, it may be a bit more serious than that. This relates to a different case altogether. And we see this at 5487. And at the foot of 5487, Mr. Valley gives the name of a person. And then underneath, at the top of 5488, this is on the 15th of April 2022, says, because in position of fraud PRP, they're saying. And General Khan says, Salam's Bureau, did that person come home today? Mr. Valley says, gee, yes. Is your contact sorted, he asks. General Khan says, okay. Mr. Valley thanks him, says the wit lawyer or the vit lawyer. And then General Khan says, we just have to make it disappear now. That's at the top of 5489. And Mr. Valley says, gee, can you, bro? I'll get the toppy to sort. And General Khan says, tomorrow, 1400, we can see him at the hotel. So there is a suggestion that General Khan...
You've just watched a senior officer of the South African Police Service, under oath and on record, be shown a message in his own handwriting. 6 words. We just have to make it disappear. And then a follow-up. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., meet at the hotel. This isn't ambiguous. This isn't corporate speak. This is a major general telling a friend that a criminal charge against someone he knows will be neutralized and setting the meeting to do it. Meanwhile, a woman in Soweto has been trying for 18 months to get the police to open her assault case. A family in the Eastern Cape is still waiting on a docket from last year. That's the system. It doesn't work slowly. It works for someone else. Who does this general work for? Because it clearly isn't you.
And also a reminder of Mr. Malema's principled stand in relation to xenophobia. If we go to 5963, we see at the 10th of June 2021, Mr. Syed forwards to General Khan 6 messages, which he says come from Mr. Malema, and we'll take the messages and then explain why I say they come from Mr. Malema. The first one was a photograph of a person that's been deleted and that is no longer legible. The second was a picture of an Operation Dudula poster, in which Operation Dudula was threatening to remove all illegal foreign nationals by force and was calling for a meeting on June 16, 2021. And had the threat underneath, if you are operating illegally, you better pack and leave before 16 June.
Sorry, Mr. Shaskalson. I don't know whether you answered the question as to why these are not being flighted when you were engaging.
They are being flighted. These are being flighted. Oh, sorry.
Checking whether there was a principle.
No. There's no. Maybe I'm going too quickly here, and I should slow down, and everything should be flighted. Sorry.
You can tell who the source was when I spoke.
Solidarity on the Commission is breaking down, Chair.
Please continue, Mr. Shaskalson. Thank you.
Well, maybe if we can start at the top. the top, if we go one, is the message that straddles 5963 and 5964, which was forwarded from Mr. Sayed at message time 101:31 on the 10th of June 2021. And what this is a deleted photograph of.
You've just watched something the mainstream coverage will bury under 100 careful sentences. In June 2021, a message about Operation Dudula posters was forwarded to a major general with a simple instruction: must be arrested tonight. Yes. And the man attached to the request wasn't a police officer, wasn't a prosecutor, wasn't a member of oversight. He was a politician. Now, I have my own views on xenophobia and I stand firmly against it. But the question this raises is different. Since when does a request for arrests get routed through a WhatsApp chat between a general, a tobacco businessman, and a party leader? What happens to due process in a country where the powerful skip the queue, and who decides who gets the general's attention next? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear.
10th of June. The very next day, if we go down to 5971, General Khan sends to Mr. Sayed draft questions for the Inspector General of Intelligence. And that is at 11th of June at message time 1:51:47. And again, we have a problem that we frequently had with these message times, that they're 2 hours out because they are UTC, not South African Standard Time. So the questions that General Khan has drafted are: convicted drug dealer and member in the agent program, and the name has been redacted, claims to be close friends with you. Is this true? 2, do you take instructions from this person, as he alleges he has a close relationship with you? 3, what gratification does the Inspector General of Intelligence enjoy from this person? 4, how long has the Inspector General been a captured public service servant of, and then that person? So these are draft questions that General Khan has prepared, which he is going to essentially ask Mr. Malema to arrange to be put to the Inspector General in Parliament through the EFF. If we go down to page 5975, and sorry, I just want to emphasize at that stage, General Khan is not dealing directly with Mr. Malema. He is sending messages to Mr. Sayed. But the channel is...
You've just watched a Major General in Crime Intelligence draft parliamentary questions, not investigate a suspect, not open a docket, not approach oversight, draft political questions, and then send them through a tobacco businessman to a party leader to be planted in Parliament, aimed at the Inspector General of Intelligence, the very person whose job is to hold him accountable. Read that back to yourself slowly. The officer being watched wrote the questions the watchman was going to be asked. This is not policing. This is a coordinated political operation dressed up in a uniform, and the person meant to be checking him is the person he's targeting. If this doesn't tell you exactly how compromised the intelligence structures have become, what will? Do you believe there's any real oversight left that hasn't been captured? Tell me.
To a message while the writer of that message is writing another message, and so you get responses that don't respond to the immediately preceding message. You have to work out what they respond to. So Mr. Sayed says, are you happy with the questions? In other words, are you satisfied with these questions that Mr. Malema has sent me to be put to the Minister of Police and the Inspector General of Intelligence? But then, in response to General Khan's question, when are they sending it to him, Mr. Sayed says, let me ask. Now answering whether he's happy with the questions, General Khan says, yes, bro, and then says, this should get him to lie and in return, we can ask for his removal because he lied. So what General Khan is disclosing here is that the purpose of these questions is not to establish whether the Inspector General has a relationship of any nature with Timi Marimutu. Rather, it's to trap the Inspector General into lying in an answer to Parliament and then to use the fact that he will have lied to orchestrate his removal. Mr. Syed is still responding to the previous inquiry of General Khan, which is when are they sending the questions? And he says at 65977 at 12 June 2021, 8:49, but I think it's been sent already. He then responds to General Khan's message saying, you know, this will get him to lie and then we can get him removed. And he says, absolutely, he's going to deny it and then he's effed. Bye-bye P, ... And General Khan agrees with the abusive description of the Inspector General, says big P. Mr. Syed then says, when is it going to be fired off to them? And what we see later is that this is in fact a message that he has sent to Mr. Malema, which he's now forwarding to General Khan. The response is tomorrow. General Khan says they must fix up the spelling of drug in paragraph 1. In other words, Mr. Marimutu is a drug lord, not a drag lord. And he then, responding to when it's going to be fired off and tomorrow, he says, thanks, bro.
You've just watched a Major General, in his own words, spell out the plan. This should get him to lie, and in return we can ask for his removal because he lied. And the response from his friend, absolutely, he's going to deny it, and then he's finished. Bye-bye. Let that sit for a second. This wasn't accountability. This wasn't concern about a real relationship with a drug dealer. This was a trap, designed, drafted, and delivered to remove the Inspector General of Intelligence from the position he held over crime intelligence, over Khan. This is the definition of a coup inside the security structures. Quiet, bureaucratic, executed by WhatsApp. And nobody was going to know if his phone hadn't been extracted. How many more of these operations do you think are still running? Comment below.
At a process that runs from 10 June, when the Operation Dudula messages are sent, through to 21 June, when the letter to the Minister of Police is sent. In the middle of that process, on the 15th of June, if we go to page 5990, we come to the Santon case number that I have mentioned previously. And there we see that it's now 4 days after General Khan has sent his draft question to the Inspector General, to Mr. Malema through Mr. Syed. Mr. Syed forwards to General Khan a request from Mr. Malema. And that is at the message on page 5990 at message time 1207 on the 15th of June, where Mr. Syed forwards the message, need to know the complaint in case number Santon case 79/07/2019, and says Juju brew. And General Khan says, okay, thanks. Now, if we go to the next page, General Khan responds very promptly. What he's done is he's got onto the SAPS computerized database of cases, and he sends what looks like a photograph or a screenshot from that database, which identifies who the complainant is in that case. And we see that at the top of 5991. It's public. Now, and that screen that we see, which he sends to Mr. Sayed, identifies the complainant as Mr. Ruplal. And Mr. Sayed thanks him for it, and then for good measure, General Khan sends through not only Mr. Ruplal's name, which appears from the screen, but also his address, which wasn't even asked for. Now, Mr. Ruplal was the curator of the VBS Bank. And that case, Santon case 76/07/2019, was a case that he had instituted in relation to frauds concerning the VBS Bank. Now, Mr. Malema has been implicated in the VBS Bank scandal. He is implicated in the plea explanation affidavit of the former VBS chair, Mr. Matodzi, who pleaded guilty and was sentenced to an effective 15 years of imprisonment for his role in the scandal. He stated in his plea explanation affidavit that in an attempt to buy protection, political protection from the EFF for VBS, when inquiries were starting to be made in relation to VBS, in an attempt to buy political protection from the EFF, he had paid bribes of millions of rands to Mr. Malema and to Mr. Floyd Shivambu in the guise of making donations to the EFF. The relevant extract from the affidavit of Mr. Matodzi is at the exhibit bundle, page 300 to 301. Don't propose to read it because that's been the subject of separate investigations. But what it shows is that Mr. Malema's concern about this case number was because it related to an issue whether rightly or wrongly someone...
You've just watched something that broke a whole other law. 4 days after Khan drafted his trap for the Inspector General, a case number lands in his phone. Juju. Brew. The General opens the SAPS database, screenshots the complainant, sends the name, and then for good measure sends the man's home address. That complainant was Mr. Ruplal, curator of VBS Bank, the very institution where ordinary depositors and municipalities lost billions, and the person allegedly wanting his details had already been implicated in the plea affidavit of the VBS chair as a recipient of bribes. Do you understand what you just watched? A senior intelligence officer handed the private address of a corruption witness to a politically exposed figure. As a favor, this is what state capture actually looks like on the ground. Are you still surprised nothing changes?
Not able to contact Mr. Malema directly, but now General Khan has received Mr. Malema's contact details from Mr. Sayed. On the 5th of December, Mr. Sayed sends General Khan a voice note. That voice note appears at page 6385. And if we can play it.
Salams, bro. Juju called me now. He says that your things are coming along very, very nicely. It's moving along very rapidly. But just give him some time, but it's going to happen for sure.
So, Mr. Sayed says to General Khan, Juju called, your things are coming along, it's moving along very nicely, it's going to happen for sure. General Khan thanks him, says much appreciated. And then on the 22nd of September, at 6417, Mr. Sayed sends another message from Mr. Malema to General Khan. And this clearly relates to the disciplinary issue. And it's at the foot of 6417. And he says, Brew, I forgot to tell you the Jew called me, said that you will not ever resign, no matter what. This is a fight, and we will emerge victorious. So if we reflect on that timeline, what we see is that General Khan is in disciplinary trouble at crime intelligence. He tells Mr. Sayed says, should I get Mr. Malema involved? General Khan says initially no. A few days later, the story of his disciplinary difficulties is leaked to the press. And sometime thereafter, Mr. Malema gets involved, and by 22 September, Mr. Malema is saying, you will not ever resign, no matter what. This is a fight, and we will emerge victorious. Now, if we go back to the chats again and look at this timeline, which runs from 30 July to 22 September, we see another suggestion of a quid pro quo with Mr. Malema in relation to this episode. And
You've just watched the general in trouble find a lifeline. A disciplinary notice arrives. Sayed offers to loop in Juju. 2 days later, the story is leaked to Afrikaans press. The next day, Khan sends a photo of himself with Malema and Sayed around a dinner table. And then the voice note. Juju called. Your things are coming along very nicely. It's going to happen for sure. And later, you will not ever resign, no matter what. This is a fight, and we will emerge victorious. Who is we? Since when does a party leader become the personal defense lawyer of a police general under investigation? What did this general do to earn that kind of protection? And what did he owe in return? Because favors like this don't come free. Tell me what you think the price was.
August. And if we go down to 6245, on the same day that General Khan forwards the picture of Mr. Malema and Mr. Sayed to Mr. Sayed, Mr. Sayed returns a message which relates to a tender for fleet management services submitted by a company called Bertobrite, B-E-R-T-O-B-R-I-T-E, to the State Information Technology Agency, SETA. And underneath that, he says, Juju sent me. General Khan says what he needs here, what does he need? And Mr. Sayed says, I think he wants us to do it. In other words, we infer, I think he wants us to do this tender for him. So we have...
But where is the for him part, Mr. Chaskalson? I mean, I think he wants us to do it. I get that part.
Or for Bertobrite, because it's Bertobrite's tender. It's not a tender that's put in by a company of Mr. Sayed or Mr.
You've just watched the price. The same day Khan forwarded that dinner photograph, a message came back through Sayed, a company called Bertobrite, a tender for fleet management to SETA. Juju sent this. I think he wants us to do it. Us. A major general in crime intelligence, a tobacco businessman under active investigation, being asked to secure a state fleet tender for a company already named in press reports for allegedly paying bribes to the EFF in Tshwane. This is what a quid pro quo looks like in real time. Protection in one direction, tenders in the other. And the state, the actual South African state, sitting in the middle being carved up between them. This is the machinery. This is how the country gets sold. Silently. In chats. Between friends. Are you still voting like this is normal politics?
Paragraph. I am in no position to meaningfully respond in my defense. I'm uncertain whether the very claimed facts in this paragraph implicate me per se, or that the Commission will draw inferences therefrom. This applies with equal force in respect of the other aspects of Mr. Nyatlo's affidavit, save where the context or language itself clearly implicates in relation to the terms of reference of this commission. The contents of these paragraphs are nonetheless factual claims, save with inaccuracies I will correct momentarily, that I have voluntarily stated in the public domain since the inception of the EFF. As an example, I voluntarily stated at the EFF 10th year celebration event, which was perhaps the most widely publicized EFF event, that Mr. Mazzotti, who is the CEO of Carnelinks, donated funds that helped register the EFF. It is also a matter of public record that my wife used to reside at a property that is in the same complex precinct at Mr. Mazzotti under a lease agreement, which is underlined. I place underlining emphasis under lease agreement as correctly recorded in Mr. Nyatlo's affidavit, in contrast to other media reports and claims that I stayed there gratuitously. Add paragraphs 57 to 65. Paragraph 9, I deny that I conspired to orchestrate the removal of Dr. Dintwe. Paragraph 10, in any event, I regularly receive information from various sources, some covert, some public, that relates to my work as a Member of Parliament. This paragraph is not an invitation to me. Some come from private citizens and some from public officials like the police. As a case in point, I have met with General Mkhwanazi, who shared with me the investigations about the murder of a popular artist known as AKA. It is my concern, and indeed my interest, to receive information about the working of our public service officials who I have a task of holding to account. Nothing is or could be implicating, if nothing more than receiving assistance of how to hold a public official accountable is proffered. Be that as it may, I do not have knowledge of the exchanges.
You've just watched the response. A denial of a conspiracy. Silence on the address of the VBS witness. Silence on the disciplinary favor. Silence on the tender. Silence on the voice note. Silence on we will emerge victorious. A carefully drafted affidavit that engages with what is convenient and ignores what isn't, and that is where this leaves us. A general who ran his office through a group chat, a businessman who moved between them like a courier, a politician who says he cannot confirm the messages exist, and a country, your country, that keeps paying for it in collapsed hospitals, dark townships, unopened dockets, and unpaid grants. This is why this story matters. This is why you have to keep watching. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who still thinks it isn't this bad, because it is.